Minnesota's only beating cupcakes. Nebraska's got a good chance. We're getting our fifth win. Weather won't be a problem. We'll be just fine. Yeah, well, a gopher is a stupid mascot anyway. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the College Football Hangover. And yeah, I really don't know what to make of that game that happened in Minnesota. I really have no opinion on it because, you know what? I'll save it for later. Let's talk about the biggest story from the weekend. Georgia, at the time, the number 3 ranked team in the country. They were in my final 4 picks for the college football playoff. If you listen to the Loud Sports podcast, there's a link to that segment below. I'm shocked.
I feel shocked.
I don't know what to say about this. I really don't. And I know I already said that about the Nebraska and Minnesota game, but that's just where I am with college football right now. It is breaking my mind what's going on. I never would have predicted a struggling South Carolina team beat Georgia at home, which is even crazier for me. So, I don't know. College football's in this weird place. This is why October is the best month of the year. It's not because of spooky season. It's because of the college football season. This is where you're going to see a lot more competitive play in the conferences, and you're going to see teams really form their identity, which is not good for that team. Ugh. Another game that I actually really enjoyed. I love watching this football game. I watch it every year. It's one of my favorite rivalries to watch. It reminds me so much of like Miami and Florida State. Those two rivalries really shaped my childhood, I think, is really what formed me as a college football fan. So I love watching the Red River rivalry every year. This year had a big headline because I, since week 1, have been banging the drum for Jalen Hurts. He, right now, it's really close between him and Jonathan Taylor, but he's probably my Heisman favorite. Now, he did have 2 key turnovers in this game. He did have an interception and a fumble. Bad things to have on your resume. But overall, he continued to show that he has full command of this offense. This team believes in him. Lincoln Riley believes in him. And it's showing more and more. Now, this game did end up being 34-27. But in reality, it could have been a lot worse. Like 34-7 worse. I think the big story for me was how well the Oklahoma defense played. Oklahoma has a defense now, so they're a really scary football team. For anyone in the Big 12, and anybody that's a fan of a team in the Big 12, because their significant other went there, and that's your adopted team, and that's actually turning out to be a better choice for you than your current favorite team. Either way, I've always liked Oklahoma. I've always liked Bob Stoops, and now I like Lincoln Riley anymore. He's probably my favorite young coach that I want to see win a championship, and it's probably going to have to happen soon because I can see him going to the NFL. So good for you, Sooners. And anytime Texas loses, it's funny to me. It is. Yes, I'm over 2009. LSU, again, surprised me. I've always thought it's going to drop off at some point. They can't be this good for this long. And they're continuing to show me they are this good. And it will be for a while. Took care of Florida. Not an easy game. Florida is the second best team in the East. And the number 1 team in the East lost. So it was anybody's guess coming into this. It's unfortunate for Florida because that seems to be the case. Whenever there is a really good East team, there's a West team that's equally as good, maybe if not better, and they always give them fits. Doesn't matter who the team is. So now I want to get to kind of my main topic of today's show, which scares the hell out of me. It really does. So look at how bad Nebraska played against Minnesota. Now, what do we want to say here? What's the line of reasoning for Nebraska to go with? Well, we just didn't play well. Our offensive line wasn't very good. We have more talent, but we just don't have an identity or whatever it may be. Or maybe we have to accept the fact that this is one of those rare times when Minnesota is actually a good football team. P.J. Fleck maybe finally clicking there at 6-0. Maybe there's something to it. Also, maybe Nebraska just really sucks, but I like to prefer the other one because it's more positive. And this is why it's extremely scary to me as a Husker fan, because Nebraska still has to play Wisconsin. And in my mind, it's the worst possible nightmare to have, because if Minnesota can do what they did against you, and again, still a good football team, that's what I'm trying to say, football gods who rule over this. I'm just saying, it's not great when Minnesota and Wisconsin could be meeting for the Big Ten West. Paul Bunyan's axe could decide the Big Ten West. It's the worst possible thing that could happen to me. Because we're supposed to be that team. We're supposed to be going up against Wisconsin. but it's just not there yet. But it's just the worst. I just want Nebraska to be playing against Wisconsin like that. I just want to be Wisconsin. That's the real issue, and the Frost era is just clearly not there yet, and I think PJ Fleck is what could happen for Scott Frost, where things are finally starting to click and work for this team. We'll see what happens when they play the Badgers at the end of the year. Oh, man, I don't even want to talk about Wisconsin. They're just like a weird boogeyman because they laid the wood to Michigan State, who I still believe is not a bad football team. Knowing Ohio State did that to them and just that, oh, God, I don't want to think about what they're going to do to Nebraska. Ugh. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you this week. The Georgia loss is the first shocking loss of the season. Continues to show why this is the best sport in the world. Nebraska, I don't know. I'm just trying to stay positive at this point. I said I just want 6 wins. I just want a bowl game. Please. Oh, there was a positive. Iowa lost. I got to take my shots where I can get them. Yeah, this is going to be a little bit of a thinner episode because I want to dedicate a little bit more time to a personal story that I wanted to share with you guys. Don't worry, it's not going to be dark or sad or depressing. It's going to be nice and uplifting, I think. So, while this goes live, it would have been my dad's 53rd birthday. And I only bring this up because I haven't really talked about it very publicly or shared much about it very publicly. Mostly because I don't want to bother people with that. I've only done maybe one video about it, but that was, again, something more positive. And I'm going to keep going on a positive note with this. I wore this hat for this video, and I actually wore it all day to have a nice little tribute, a cute little thing that I wanted to do, something nice and sentimental instead of something sad. So this hat was the last hat that my dad ever owned. And my dad was always a hat guy, if you can tell by me. A lot of fashion kind of went back to me. I wear hats a lot. Mostly because I'm lazy and I don't want to do my hair, and I think that was his excuse as well. But anyway, this was the last hat he ever owned, and it was given to me. I thought it was kind of sentimental and silly when I got it, but it's nice to have something like this. It's nice to have this little memento. I think that's the word, yeah, memento, like Christopher Nolan movie, Memento. Sorry for my ugly hair. I was wearing a hat. So I never touched it for, I think it'll be 4 years, I think, in January. I hadn't touched it in like 3 years, and then I used it as a prop in a previous video, and yeah, it's just this thing that reminds me of him, and it's something that doesn't make me sad. It makes me happy. And the whole reason I'm talking about my dad and hats is I used to spend a lot of Saturdays with my dad and watching football. And he was crazy like me, where it wouldn't just be the Husker game, it would be whatever's on. So we could be watching football from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. sometimes. We'd even try and stay up late and watch the Pac-12 after dark games. So a lot of my love for college football comes from him, and if it wasn't for those Saturdays with my dad getting to spend countless hours watching football together, I don't think I would love this sport as much, and I don't think I'd be the man I am today. So I think it was very important, and it was a nice bonding experience to have. And I just, anybody out there that's lost a parent, lost a loved one even, there are still things that can make you happy and make you smile. And it's not always really sad. Most of the time, it's a lot happier than sad than you really think. If you think about it, I don't have a lot of sadness. I have a lot more happiness since my father passed, because it just made me realize how lucky I was to have a father that loved me as much as he loves me. Dang it, I was going to try to get through this without tearing up. And I love him, and I miss him every day, and I think I'm going to make that just a tradition that every year on his birthday I'm going to wear this hat. And I think it's something that'll always make me happy. So, didn't mean to get super serious or sad. That's just not usually what the show is, but it was a special occasion, and it's something I wanted to put out there. A positive thing, because there's a lot of negative things in the world, and I wanted to get something a little positive. And thank you so much once again for watching this episode, this very special, emotional episode of College Football Hangover. I will be back next week to talk about all the highlights and the lowlights of college football. Thanks so much. Don't forget to also check out other podcasts, Loud Sports, Backcast, Super Cynical Cinema, The Jake Williams Show. Check them all out for Loud and Opinionated. They're all great shows, and I'm glad to be a part of them. See you next week.